Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Healing Disclosures. My name is Nicole. I also am known as Lord Delphinus. That is my main soul imprint. It is May 14th, 2023. I always have to check the date on the computer because I never know what day it is. That's just part of the time that we're in, and specifically my timeline. Time moves fast. So today, I would like to talk to you about ways, steps, some tactics you can use to deal with all the fear porn, right? Aren't you sick to death of it? So, so we're clear. The definition, as found on Google, of fear porn, media content that deliberately and enticingly plays on people's fears about disaster, disease, and death. Sounds so familiar, right? This is what we've been living in the last however many years. They just go from one created event that incites fear to another one. When that one fizzles out, they come up with another one. Okay. And I want to be very, very clear. The goal is not to give you information that is actually good for you. The goal is to incite fear, blame, guilt, shame, all the low vibrational feelings. So let me explain that. We are energy bodies. Okay. Everything in the existing timeline, planet, universe that we're in has a vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher your frequency. The lower the vibration, the lower your frequency. And frequency equals power. So to keep us as a collective creating, really multiplying low vibrational frequency, they keep us in a fear state. They keep us in a guilt state. They keep us in a shame state. They keep us in a state of begging and bargaining, which equates to not having power, right? Low frequency is low power. High frequency is high power. And there's a lot of changes that occur in your consciousness to help you navigate those higher frequencies and recognize low frequency. Now, how do you do that? So I always use myself as an example because I am living this. Okay, this is like my real life. So let's go back to 2020. I was in a state of fear to a degree, but not a lot, because I was bedside nursing, I was emergency room nursing, I was critical care nursing, and we had this thing coming around that people were really dying a lot, and there was not a lot that we knew about it. And as a healthcare professional, someone who had only ever tried to help people feel better and heal from things, I felt rather helpless. And so there was fear. But I also answered the call and went to work and worked in several different states in those C units. Okay. So there was also lots of guilt for those that weren't working. lots of shame for those who weren't sure which end was up, but they didn't feel comfortable being in that environment, so they backed away. They were shamed. They were straight up shamed. So all of a sudden, you had this entire profession that prior to that event were one of the most noble, honorable, honest, perceived professions. And all of a sudden, we, as an entire profession, tumble down to the dirt on the bottom of the shoes. Well, why is that? It really isn't about the individual people as much as it is the institution in which we functioned. So you had this attraction for a lot of empaths like myself to be work for the greater good, to give our energy and our time and our good intention to helping others. That's what we wanted to do. And that energy, that high vibrational, because good intentions in service to others and being selfless, those are high vibrational intentions, high vibrational feelings. And that was taken. You were lured in to Western healthcare in general, really. And then they take that and they swap it out for fear, blame, guilt, shame. They take your good intentions, they harness that power, and they give you some crumbs back in exchange for a paycheck. So you have energy that you brought to the organization that was good intentioned. And then they take that energy because they are an energy vampire organization, all of them. And they use that energy for their purposes, which are not for the greater good. And they leave you feeling less than when you walked in the building. You feel like you haven't done enough. You feel like you haven't been enough. You feel like you have to give more. And you do, because that is your empathic trait. And you take your good intent for the service of others, and you keep coming back and you work overtime and you give more and you give more and you give more and you give more. That is exactly what I was doing. And for a while, I was under the impression that I was helping. And then some data started to come out. And then we could see those that had eyes to see and ears to hear and a heart that was in alignment with Source Creator, that we were part of the problem. We were not part of the solution. And it was much, much, much bigger than the hospital or the institution or the sea thing or the government. It was all of it. It was all of it. And the organizations that we used to depend on for news, well, they're all bought and paid for, and they were reading off of their scripts to incite deliberately fear based on disease, death, and disaster. Fear porn. Illustrated, carried out to the letter, dotting the I, crossing the T's. So I jumped off that negative loop a long time ago. That did wonders for my mind, wonders for my soul. Brought me back to feeling like I was no longer part of the problem, but now I'm working to be a part of the solution, the greater good, Source Creator. And so as I take my guidance every single day from my ascendant masters who have lived many, many, many lives and are much more wise than any of us currently living on this planet. Source Creator, Mothersophia, my angels, my archangels. I take guidance from every one of them. Not every one of them all day long, Some days, some have more to say than others. Some days it's really quiet because we're just being. We're just letting the energies come through and process. But I know how to do that now. And I really have an empathic sense of sorrow for the beings that are of the light, that are in alignment with Source Creator and are confused as fuck. They do not know which end is up. They have not found their own ability to make sense out of what is happening around us and all the things that are getting thrown at you. So, in totality, you can pretty much say that anything coming out of the financial sector is negative. There's no hope there. Anything coming out of the government, negative. Anything focused on religion, negative. And the education system, negative. So when you look at the pillars that actually hold up a society, I just listed them off. Granted, infrastructure, other things like that get spun off of these main pillars. But when you have the main pillars of a society peddling fear porn because they've been bought and paid for, we have to go within. Because we always have a access to truth. And the truth always comes from Source Creator. You may call him God, him or her, Father, Mother, God. We have Creator of all things, Source, Creator. And we have Creatrix of all life, Mother Sophia. That is your Father, Mother, God. They don't want you living in fear. They don't want you living in shame. They don't want you feeling guilty about things that are beyond your control. But how do we get off of that hamster wheel? It's a very good analogy. Keep us in little cages, put you on the wheel, keep busy, little hamster. We need all that low vibrational energy that you're going to generate. At the end of the week, we're going to give you a little bitty paycheck, and the government's going to take some of it too. Sound familiar? The big secret is you have allowed your power to be taken from you in incremental steps that have all been very deliberately planned out to do just that. However, the good news is you can take your power back. So for me, the very first thing that I had to do was get out of the system, right? So you say, gosh, how do you get out of the system? Like, we live in the system. You do live as in breathe, sleep, eat within a certain construct. But you have free will choice to decide who you're going to give your energy to take your energy back, more importantly, from those that have taken it from you. So for me, I pivoted from a career that I realized was a part of the problem, but not part of the solution. And I took my good intentions, I took my energy, took my heart center, my Christ-centered focus, and I redefined what my healing would look like. I did that by opening myself up to the fact that I didn't have all the answers, that I had been basing a lot of my decisions my entire life on lies, and that I needed to open myself up to whatever truth came into me from the divine and accept it. That is a huge obstacle for a lot of people. So they encounter truth for the first time and they have this overwhelming feeling that it's true. And then their brain, which is the most manipulated organ in our bodies, kicks in and says, oh no, this can't be true. Where's the proof? How could it be? How could all these other places also be in on the scam? Well, there's evidence to all that too. I'm not going to go into it today. I just asked you to do your own research like I did. When you realize that the less you have to do with all these big institutions and the less that you give them of yourself, you start to piece together your soul and you start to feel the guidance and you start to get the downloads and you start to have your power back. Now, I have always been called to be a healer. Source Creator, Mother Sophia absolutely held me very, very tight in that. Whenever I decided to pivot from my nursing career and institutional healthcare as it is today, I thought I had lost and wasted 20 plus years, almost 30 years really. And I got the download. It was sent into my being. None of that time was wasted. I learned at the bedside things that I could never learn in any other context of life. Okay, I learned about death. I learned about transitioning. I learned about energy. I learned about power. I learned what made sense and what really didn't make any sense. I learned that there was power in holding someone's hand, whether you had the answer to the next moment in time or not. So all of that I then felt better about because my experiences in a system that was intended to cause harm was not in totality bad for me. So I took the pieces that were positive and I pulled them through to this next part of my life as a healer with divine abilities. Now, I have embraced those abilities and I have asked for more and more and more. Whatever I'm able to get, I get because I have an enormous faith and I don't second guess Source Creator. So people that will say, how, why, I don't understand. Okay, well, I don't understand a lot of it either, but I also don't need to understand the intricacies of it because it's miracles and it's magical and it's for the greater good. And I have seen it help people without causing harm. No harm. So I get to be a energy healer for the collective to help them have a conversation with their own higher self, with Source Creator, with Mother Sophia, with their own guides, with their own ascendant masters, with their own angels and archangels. So then they can start to piece together their soul and take their power back. And that is how you combat fear porn. So now, I mean, there are easier things to do, right? Turn the TV off, get off social media, be a recluse, live off the grid. But that's not a reality for me. To an extent, I have done some of those things. Definitely. And it has definitely helped. But what do you do when you really want to know some truth? When you really see something or you hear something and you're like, okay, how do I know? Well, for us that are in alignment with Source and are clear of negative energy, we ask our higher self. Your higher self is always from a place of neutrality and in your highest and best good. You ask your higher self, is this accurate? Is this information I just heard accurate? You get a yes or no. If you can know, which when it comes to things getting broadcast, I don't normally get a non-answer. I normally get a yes or a no. So then you know. And don't be the naysayer. You have asked your higher self, and that information is coming channeled from Source Creator. Now, you may say, well, how do you know? How do you know it's your higher self? How do you know it's Source Creator? Well, we do things to keep our energy field clear, and we can check for any negative distortions. And so we know going into asking the question that we are clear and a clear channel and that information comes through. Also, if it's something really big or not, if it's just something we want to get confirmed, we reach out to fellow soul family members who have also had their energy clearing done, who also have made sure that they're clear, and we have them ask to confirm. So these are lots and lots of things that come through that get independently confirmed from other members in the crew. The best thing to do is to not give a lot of detail, like just the question, the exact wording and everything that I ask my higher self, and I give it to someone else, and that's how they ask their higher self. We get a confirmation, or we don't, and then we troubleshoot from there. And so that is how we discern truth from fiction, and we feel the truth in our soul. When you're full of negative distortions, your reality is literally distorted. The negative distortions want their agenda pushed forward. They don't want you to realize that there's bad shit happening. And they don't want you to realize that it's your power that you're taking. They want to keep access to your power. So they want to keep you small. They want to keep you feeling like you're a victim and you got somebody else to blame for putting you in this position, and your fear and shame and blame and guilt, right? What does that sound like? Does that sound like a loving relationship? Does that sound like a place of neutrality? Does that sound like it's anything good for you? It doesn't to me. It doesn't to me. And I'm very, very aware of it. I'm very aware of it in other people, and I'm very aware of it for myself. Now, we are happy to help you get there. I have been given many, many missions, many divine missions. Most of it deals with my ground crew that will help do some very key things in the coming months. But also what I can help do is just open up the channel so that you have access to truth. And you no longer are a victim of the fear porn attack that we all seem to get as soon as we turn the TV on or as soon as we're on social media. Just because they're on a platform does not make them truthful. I have to constantly check people that I like in life, but some of the stuff that they say, my gut says, something's going on. Let me check. And it is absolutely in my right as a sovereign being to protect my own energy. So I check those that I want to share my energy field with. And if I find that they're not in alignment with source, I don't share my energy with them. I actually just block them. You can block people from your energy field just like you block people on social media. It's so fun. So I want you to know that you have options. You have choices. You do not need to be a victim of fear porn unless you allow it. If you're sick to death of that chaos and that stupidity that keeps getting thrown at you like you don't have the sense enough to make your way out of a box, please come visit us in Healing Disclosures. Just let me know why you're there. Let the admins know why you're there. Doesn't matter. And we will help you gladly. Why? Why would I do that? Because I'm called to do that. Source Creator has given me many missions, and that's one of them. And I would do it anyway because I'm an empath and I've worked for the greater good my entire life. I just was given my power away in institutions of healthcare before now. That is the only reason. So I hope this information is helpful to you. I hope that you can see that you actually have choices. You don't need to be a victim of hearing all this stuff and what it does to you and the internal chaos that it causes. Because all that does in the low vibrational energy that it produces is it just feeds the darkness. We don't want to give them any more energy. We just want to feed the light. So the Telegram group for Healing Disclosures is the way to find me there. The link is in the description box. And I look forward to seeing you. You guys have a great day.
When I want to be grown up, I want to play hockey.
I want to be a DJ or a dancer when I grow up.
Probably be video game designer because I like playing video games.
A dad.
Some grown-ups kind of get boring jobs because maybe they'll make like more money with it than they would with jobs that were funner.
If you're doing the job that you do like, then you're not really working any day. You're not really working at all because like it's something that you actually like. It's not something like that you don't like.
I mean, of course, as a kid, I wanted to be in the majors. I wanted to play Major League Baseball or basketball. Of course,
I just remember I wanted to be a boss. It didn't matter what kind of boss. I just want to be a boss of someone.
Yeah, I mean, I dreamt about traveling the world. I mean, nobody wants to stay at home all day.
And one day I was just like, I can't do this.
I don't know how to travel with my kids. I don't see a way to go anywhere.
There are times in life I just all of a sudden realize I'm just here. I'm just existing, that I'm not progressing anymore.
I think as kids we have all these amazing dreams. Generally, as people get older, you get caught in that rut of, well, I can't do that, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time freedom. And network marketing actually has fulfilled all of those dreams for me.
I now can see that it's okay to dream and it's okay to have hope for the future, because really before I just didn't think it was possible.
For me, network marketing has introduced me to a lot of friends that I never would have met otherwise.
What I'm doing now, I'm able to give people hope.
Everything is in your control. Your happiness is in your control. Your future's in your control. How much you make is in your control.
I've traveled to almost every continent around the world. Not only can you go to see a phenomenal area, but you have a purpose. You already have friends in that area.
You have to put the work out there. What you put out there comes back.
Yeah, it was 100% the best thing that you could ever do. Have a home-based business, but you get to build your dreams. You get to go live your dreams.